It's been a while since I've taken a serious look at one-hit KO moves in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, because, like, we got DLC now. We got more Pokemon that can just one-shot you and do fun stuff. So I wanted to really see what the best OHKO Pokemon are and how to use them for Regulation H. I mean, we can still acknowledge the legendaries, but without legendaries and Paradox Pokemon, could also make it easier and better for just some other Pokemon to show up. Like, is Dugtrio just secretly strong now because it outspeeds everything and then it can just wallop on a Fissure? Who knows? So I want to go and break it down, like find the best. But then I'm reminded that Pokemon like Dondozo exist. 150 hit points, 115 defense. Can you find a Pokemon better that has access to a one-hit KO move? I don't know what the results of this video are going to be. Like, it'd be surprising if we get a yes. And then just, like, the most balanced tank out there. And yet Garganacl still gets, like, two-shot by a lot of stuff because of the power creep inside of the game, making things more difficult. But before we get deeper into the video, gotta shout out G Fuel. It's the best energy drink I've found. Tastes incredible. It gives you focus, gets you that energy. Great for work, school, gaming. And it's how I get the brain power to give you the best competitive analysis in Pokemon. So like, comment, subscribe, check out G Fuel. Back to the video. But right here, you know, thank you Alphabetical Order for reminding us Bastiodon is something. Soundproof is interesting because, like, you just get immunity on top of that. We have Sturdy, but that doesn't matter because you just Terra off of a 4x weakness and then you're good. It's also funny because this Pokemon invalidates Primarina's existence as well, which is kind of weird. So if you like find an edge into doing something against Ursaluna, but So Stupid is also allowed to be normal ground, so it's not like you just go, oh, I'm Terra Steel on Bastiodon and nothing ever affects me ever. But still really good. Like, yeah, Terra Flying, you can't get fissured or earthquaked. That sounds pretty cool. Soundproof just gives you immunities, and now you're fat, and you just run it down until you win. Okay, random damage analog time. I moved Earth Power to 100 power. That way it's going to be the same thing. So yeah, 18, 23 physical special. But what happens when we throw Bastiodon into the mix? It's slightly less tanky than Dondozo. And Dondozo is allowed to be a water type, which already has great natural defensive typing, and it gets unaware, which is one of the most broken abilities in the game. And Bastiodon, like, you look at this, it's like, oh, Game Freak made something scary, and they didn't want to go too scary on it, because this thing is a pure wall of a tank, but it also has just, like, straight typing weaknesses, and even with Terrestrialization, it can't be saved. So, well played on the balance there. It looks like Dondozo just wins when it's like, ooh, I might have found an angle. No, you didn't. Camerupt isn't really a defensive Pokemon. Copperajah was never good. Donphan, I always thought that Pokemon was, like, super duper overrated, never did anything. Dugtrio, it's mostly there just for the speed. And if we sort by speed, yeah, Dugtrio is the fastest Fissure Pokemon. Does that matter? Kind of, not really. I'm pulling up double stats because maybe like doubles Regulation H gets interesting, and it's really slow. It's like, okay, we got Prankster on the Whimsicott, but then there's a lot of Trick Room, Amoonguss just hanging in there. So if you bring a Pokemon with over 100 speed and do like weird speed tier investment things, you're going to get your shot. There's a 70% chance it fails, but it makes like planning around OHKO kind of weird as well, and then we can just kind of sort by whatever again. Excadrill's good because it has that double threat of Horn Drill and Fissure. It's got above average. Like, this is actually fast, 88 speed compared to what we just saw, so it might actually be able to creep something in on a Jolly Nature. And then you do have, like, damage outs if you want to take it. Decent hit points so you don't get one shot as much. Sand shenanigans. Like, if you need it, you can go Sand Rush full tank and then just Horn Drill Fissure, and maybe it's good. Mold Breaker, maybe find something where it's like, oh, Levitate Pokemon, get fissured. Flygon's not much. Garganacl, like we talked about, like, these stats are outrageous, but also you can get overwhelmed in some situations, especially in, like, doubles. Hippowdon. Hippowdon's also tank, and then we can just kind of compare it where it's like, yeah, slightly less tanky than Garganacl, so it doesn't really change because these Pokemon aren't getting one shot, and they're either both 2 shots or 3 shots, so they're in the same realm. And then you can bring Sandstream. Sandstream next to Garganacl, that's interesting because now you're getting that special defense boost. That could be kind of cool. Garganacl also doesn't care about Trick Room or Spore, so maybe this could just be like you sit it in, and against a slower team or someone that's trying to set up, you just go nah and then play that. maybe. Lapras, it's also like has multiple threats kind of thing. Not really super tanky. Did get to run away in Dynamax format, but that's kind of it. Mamoswine, again, I think it's overrated, but like 80 speed. No one's ever considered Mamoswine fast, but now it's actually kind of fast. Mudsdale, it's like the inverse. You just like stack super duper defenses on it. You can go Assault Vest. You can actually just be tanky. Inner Focus is also interesting, but like if you get faked out, you're just getting free stamina, so no one wants to fake out a Mudsdale. Just has Fissure, and then so slow it doesn't matter, but could anti-Trick Room. Snorlax has Fissure. Alright. I mean, we say a lot about Dondozo, but Snorlax is actually the inverse Dondozo with crazy hit points and special defense, and then you can just put enough defense into it, and it's kind of fine. So it's like, oh no, how could Game Freak do this? 150, 115, 65, 160, 110, 65, 110 attack, 100 attacks. Like, that's why Snorlax has always been my GOAT and made me the best competitive Pokemon player, especially if you, like, get extra spicy with it, but then no one uses it. And then Dondozo with the Unaware is crazy, but Snorlax also having similar Fissure threat and its own kind of benefits and things it can pull off. And Normal is a good defensive typing too. How has it taken me so long to draw this parallel? I don't know. Why haven't I run just like max special defense tank Snorlax with max defense tank Dondozo? Both have Rest, Sleep, Talk, OHKO. I don't know. So yeah, this is why we do it, boys. We just find random wild stuff inside the game that could maybe lead to some funnies. And then I think we just start to run out after this, where it's like, yep, that's it on Fissure. The OHKO hate is there. Game Freak hates RNG. Everyone knows this, but that's also why I like investigating it. What uninteractive cheese can still exist inside the game just to make the developers sad? And I love that about players when it comes to League of Legends as well, where it's like, well, you put in all these poaching rules, so we're still going to find a way to put a support player top, or funnel, or lane swap. Screw you, Riot. You take all the fun out of the game. Game Freak doing the same thing. Wait, I forgot about Torkoal. Wouldn't it be funny if you put Torkoal on a sand team and then made it go Terra Rock, and then you gave it an Assault Vest, and maybe it becomes immortal? Not great hit points. It would have been cool if Torkoal got a buff to like 90 hit points. It's a niche, viable Pokemon. And then high amounts of defense, and then you can just like keep putting stats into the special defense, and it works because you got some nice things to use. Clear Smog, just in case. Shell Armor, you know all the damage you're always taking. Fire Spin, trapping moves and damage over time is good. Heat Wave, tag both opponents. Maybe it gets enough chip damage to mean something, but it's all about that Fissure. And what if you go Terra Ice on a snow team, and you're just bringing weird stuff? I don't know, like, Torkoal, I think, is also one of those, like, viable, like, bulk. Throw it out there like this. Maybe it doesn't want to be Terra Rock. Maybe it wants to be Terra Ghost. You throw it out there as a Terra Ghost Pokemon. They're scared of something weird. Now, you do give up your strat by not showing Shell Armor or White Smoke. Like, Incineroar just kind of shows the entire thing, where it's like, oh, my Intimidate isn't White Smoked, and there's no Sun. But I still don't think it's suspicious, where it's like, but then I go Terra Ghost, so you don't fake me out, and I get a free Fissure turn on Torkoal to just do this, and even without like sand shenanigans, like this dude's just going to sit there. And if we're not double dipping sand, it depends on how many special threats are in the game. Some kind of even split also goes pretty well, and then you're a 3-hit KO, and you got some Fissure chances. Now, Sheer Cold is where it gets interesting, because you need to be an ice type to use it, or else it's less effective. But then there's Pokemon like Cryogonal, and 105 speed is now like super crazy. 135 special defense is really high. So, like, is this viable now? Especially Regulation H in singles and or doubles? I pulled out, like, the Ursaluna numbers. And the thing is, Ursaluna's going Assault Vest in singles, Life Orb in doubles. And Life Orb, depending on the investment, like, because speed, who even knows? Like, that's, like, a weird speed tier. Maybe there's something magical where you go, like, 100, 156. And then you can still go Calm Nature, because nothing's outspeeding you in Regulation H since everything is so slow. And that gives us like weird numbers. So Life Orb kind of makes the Ursaluna threatening, especially if we go off of the Calm Nature into like a Speedy Nature for some reason. If we just go into average rolls, yeah, we get 2-shot by the Blood Moon. Vacuum Wave, so not a lot of interaction going on right there. Ursaluna is just ridiculous, but if it's not Life Orb, it's like, wait a second, we actually get like multiple chances against the Ursaluna. And then that got me thinking, what if we're just degenerate about it, and we actually go Assault Vest into Ursaluna, and then like there could maybe just be like full special defense. It's riskier in doubles, and there's also all kinds of other weird things I'm thinking about when it comes to making this work like singles. Yeah, what if you just make it special tank, you know? Gholdengo can't hurt you if you go something like Terra Steel, and because you have Levitate, there's just no Earth Power threat. Don't have to worry about that. That was like kind of a spicy thing into the Ursaluna matchup where I'm like, wait a second, everyone's running Primarina, but Cryogonal's actually the play. And then if you go Assault Vest, all these special attackers like Primarina, Gholdengo, Ursaluna, they don't do anything to you. Dragonite starts to become a problem, but multi-scale doesn't matter. And depending on like whatever... See, this is why I hate not having the team peak at the end, because then you could at least get an average for what the Dragonite are investing into, where it's like, oh, there's just no speed. Or, oh, they're running like Adamant max speed, and then we just calc for that, and then we put that much speed investment into Cryogonal. There's probably some weird world where normal extreme speed Life Orb one-shots us because we only have 50 defense. But like if you play around that, like you're guaranteed a turn against Dragonite. If it tries to do some cute shit, you're getting 2 turns against a Dragonite while being immune to all the other special threats in the game. Cryogonal is actually good with OHKO. I don't exactly know what or how you build it, but it's a consideration Pokemon, and that's kind of cool about it. Looking into some other Sheer Cold, Abomasnow, yeah, this is actually like very pitiful stats, but then Snow Warning, so it actually has defense now. And you can Terra off of its infinity weaknesses. Can you Terra into something good? I don't know, and we can't utilize the soundproof because we need Snow Warning. So it's like, wait, what if you just go Sheer Cold doubles, where it's like Abomasnow, Cryogonal, and if we pull this up again, there's no Ice-type Pokemon. And I think maybe 3 people in the entire history and 24 million sales of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have used Terra Ice on a Pokemon that wasn't already like an Ice type. No one's going into that. So you actually don't get immune on the Sheer Cold. You can make your Cryogonal defenses not one-shot, and then you're faster than everything, and you can do weird stuff. Also, Citrus Berry is a lot of value, so getting 50% special defense is like 30% more effective hit points. But Citrus Berry is just 25% more effective hit points against everything, not just special. That's just the interesting thing about math inside of Pokemon. Like, Citrus Berry is just 8% less health than an Assault Vest, but also works against everything. Now, you're only allowed one of them, but if you're like considering like, oh, my tank Pokemon doesn't want Assault Vest or a Citrus Berry, well, having a Citrus Berry means you can also just now have status moves, and that's a huge benefit as well. But then just the upfront power of an Assault Vest is just going to be better to have in some situations, and also depending on the Pokemon. So yeah, this could just be cracked. And then again, you find like some kind of speed things. Let's say Dragonite is just going to be neutral nature, max speed in a lot of situations, level 50. So we just need to find 132 speed. Done. And then, like, I don't know what Gholdengo's doing, and they're doing, like, weird Scarf stuff, and if we Terra off of Ice, we don't have to worry about it at all, so even if we lose the outspeed to a more fast Gholdengo instead of a bulky Gholdengo, yeah, and then the rest can go into, like, defense, and then we can still just run the special nature. But there are some things you need to be considerate of, because if you Terra off of Ice, now your Sheer Cold only does 20%. That's stupid. This also just kind of shows the unbelievable hate that Game Freak has towards RNG, where it's like, oh yeah, Sheer Cold just used to hit everything, and then you had Pokemon like Suicune and Kyogre that could just use it, and then they double nerfed it, where it's like, well, Ice-type Pokemon are immune. Fair, fine, everything else has an immunity on OHKO, but now you're not allowed to poach? Come on, that's not cool. And because of the threat of Sheer Cold, do you notice a Pokemon that's not here? The Alolan Ninetales, that would be so freaking stupid. We'd actually commonly see that in singles. Like, Alolan Ninetales would be ridiculous. It comes in with the Snow Warning, it gets the defenses, and then it can also set up its dual screens, and then it can one-shot you. So we don't have that, which may be actually a good thing when you think about it. But after that, it's like, yeah, Sheer Cold, not too much. Dugong's nothing. Glalie nothing. Lapras, kind of a thing. Suicune and Chinpao, not usable. Beartic, Snowcloak, Bright Powder. But then it has no speed, so, like, you're just really gambling. And then, I mean, those are, like, fine defenses if you just go full investment. Or it's, like, max hit points, max special defense, Snowcloak, Underhail. That's kind of cool. You also have Snowcloak Articuno, which is a bulkier Pokemon. Max hit points, special defense nature, max defense, actually kind of crazy. Maybe a little bit of speed creep, and then Bright Powder, Roost, Sheer Cold next to an Abomasnow. I think Hail doubles Regulation H, Sheer Cold might actually be like the coolest thing to try. So that leaves us with Horn Drill, where Rhyperior. Yeah, Rhyperior's kind of the other one. And then once again, we look at the Snorlax, Dondozo-y kind of stats. I mean, this thing just takes less from super effective hits. Kind of does whatever it wants. Can get a benefit inside of Sandstorm to make up for its low special defense. And then just bulky. Kind of weird that you don't get Fissure, so you can't double dip like some Pokemon are allowed to do. And then you just have stuff where, like, you technically have OHKO with Metal Burst, because very few things are one-shotting you, especially if you, like, tear off of a 4x weakness, and then you just tank it, and then you throw all that damage back, and they die. So that's something you can do. And Eviolite Rhydon is just better than Rhyperior if you're running OHKO. Like, look at that, it's only plus 10, plus 10, plus 10. It was certainly a different time, so, like, if you need an Eviolite Pokemon for, like, one-shotting, Rhydon just gets it done. That's kind of neat to think about. Now, it doesn't have the solid rock, but what if you go Terra, Water, Lightning Rod, and now you have an electric immunity, so you're only weak to grass. And you're also tankier than Rhyperior, and, like, yeah, if weaknesses don't matter, then who cares about the solid rock? Cool. Might actually also be a play. I'm trying to think, like, do you do something stupid where you just go, like, Terra Rock? Even though Rock has a million weaknesses, that way, like, oh, I can still keep benefits inside of Sand. But also, if you just tear off of it, then you're taking damage from Sand, and it's kind of ugly, but it also kind of doesn't matter if you're just destroying everything. Why did I overlook Rhydon? Why did I not notice Snorlax? Why am I not giving Cryogonal the respect it deserves this format? And then that leaves us with Guillotine, where we already know Kingambit's the GOAT, Bisharp can Eviolite and be slightly less goated, and then not a lot. Like Haxorus, if it's doing things, it's better off just trying to... Like, Guillotine's good anti-tank tech, and I've seen that from time to time on a Haxorus, where it's actually scary, like, oh, I have a Dondozo, and you can't touch me. And then it shows the Guillotine, and you just go, darn, I thought I outplayed his Dragon Dance. Turns out I'm the fool in the end, and I need my Fissure to land first, and that is the entire game decider. Cloth. This Pokemon has gotten 0 attention in just, like, the craziest ways for its mini Shell Smash kind of baked in that didn't do anything. There might actually be some undiscovered... Like, this is the problem. Like, a lot of the Pokemon that have all these synergies and all these unique gimmicks, and some of them are doubles-oriented, like, they just, like, got immediately power prepped within their own generation. So that's stupid. Like, this would have been cool if Cloth is an average power level, and actually find a way to trigger it where, like, oh, I just use Discharge, and then I get it to half, and then that gives it the speed boost, which now climbs the speed tier mid turn, so now Cloth is the second fastest thing on the field, or becomes faster than the thing that used Discharge. Now you're actually able to do something and miss a Rock Slide. But with these stats, it ain't no Dondozo. 177 max at level 50 compared to, like, 267, so, like, yeah, 90 less hit points. That doesn't feel too great. Good defense, though. Special defense is weird. And it also has Regenerator. So it's like, a Regenerator Pokemon? Why did no one use it? Like, now that works for the Assault Vest, because Citrus Berry is one-time use, and then you just keep tagging out. And then because of that, you have, like, the extra stats or something. So, like, does this do anything? And then it has Guillotine. And that's the really ugly thing about Doug, especially in 3v3 singles, where they all cover for each other perfectly. Gholdengo's weak to ground. Dragonite is immune to ground, can also go Terra Normal and be immune to Ghost. We have Ursaluna being immune to Ghost, and we have Gholdengo being immune to Normal. So you can't find Guillotine Cheese. Now, even though OHKO isn't, like, common enough to be like, oh, we're trifecting against the OHKO, everything just kind of covers so well, it's actually stupid. And then other strategies are just kept in check, where if 2 of the most common Pokemon are normal types, or at least, like, Ursaluna is just innately normal, Dragonite really likes going normal, then how's Last Respect's going to be playable? And then there's also a lot of other stupid strategies that these Pokemon naturally break, so it just kind of shows that where, yeah, this would be cool if Gholdengo wasn't on every single team, and maybe Ghosts were just kind of common. I guess there's a way through it. Like, yeah, knockoff hurts. Kind of not really. and then you back that up with something. Why does this thing get Temper Flare? I mean, it would be the weirdest out to ever exist, even though, like, uninvested 100 attack. What does that do? Because, like, you miss a Guillotine into a Grass-type Pokemon, and then you do a 150 unboosted non-stab. Does that actually succeed somehow? I don't know. And same thing on a high horsepower. No, not high horsepower. Stomping Tantrum. It can actually do that. So, Game Freak maybe intentionally or accidentally made Cloth hilarious and viable if the power level from all the other Pokemon wasn't so high. If we just didn't have the top 3 and Paradox Pokemon and the Overtuned Legendaries, like, dude, you drop this guy in Generation 6, even with, like, Mega Pokemon running around, I think you get away with it. Why did Cloth get more analysis than any other Pokemon? I don't know, but, like, yeah, we got some cool and cute things you can do with one-hit KOs in Scarlet and Violet, and especially Regulation H. So I want to just take a look at that and see how things are going. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.